So what if I told you that you could buy a house worth over $500,000 for about the price of a used car? I know, it sounds completely nuts, but in Nevada's wild real estate market, it's actually happening. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the system that makes these unbelievable deals a reality.
All right, let's just dive right in by looking at this place. This is a beautiful property in Las Vegas. We're talking 5 bedrooms, over 4,000 square feet. I mean, this is the kind of house you dream about, right? The kind you'd see on some high-end real estate show.
But the real story here, well, it's all in the numbers. On one hand, you've got its estimated market value, almost $660,000. And on the other, the final sale price, just over 10 grand. No, that is not a typo. That's a discount of more than 98%. Just let that sink in.
And that obviously brings us to the big question we're going to dig into. How is a deal like this even possible? Was it a lottery win, some kind of once-in-a-lifetime fluke, or is it the result of a hidden market that most of us don't even know exists?
So, yeah, how does this happen? Well, it's not about luck, I can tell you that. It's about knowing exactly where to look and understanding a very specific and very high-stakes process. You're not going to find these deals on Zillow or Redfin. Nope, they exist in a totally different universe, the world of property foreclosures. It's this fast-paced, legally complicated market that, really operates on its own set of rules. You see, the journey from a regular home to a potential gold mine follows a few key legal steps. It all kicks off when a homeowner defaults, and something called a notice of default gets filed. That leads to a notice of trustee sale, which is what sets the auction date. And finally, boom, the property gets sold to the highest bidder at a public auction. This whole process creates this really narrow window of opportunity for savvy investors. But man, it is filled with risk and intense competition. For years, finding these deals was an absolute grind. I mean, it meant you had to physically go to the courthouse, dig through mountains of public records, and waste like 20+ hours every single week on research. And a lot of the time, the information was already outdated. It was slow, it was inefficient, and frankly, it was incredibly frustrating. So how do modern investors get around all those hurdles? Well, the game has completely changed. That manual, painful slog has been replaced by, essentially, a digital treasure map. The answer is a specialized platform called PFAR Systems. It's a perfect example of how data is just revolutionizing entire industries. This platform plugs directly into digital courthouse feeds, the official records, and it transforms all that messy, raw data into a super clear tool for finding profitable deals. Think of it this way. What used to be this frustrating hunt through a forest of paperwork is now like having a GPS that leads you straight to the treasure. It's all about using technology to get a massive, massive competitive edge. So what does this digital treasure map actually look like? Come on, let's open up the toolkit and see the specific things that give modern investors such a powerful advantage. First off, the sheer scale here is just massive. We're not talking about a handful of properties. The system is actively tracking over 17,000 of them across the entire Las Vegas metro area. That's a huge net to cast. But here's the thing. It's not just a ton of data. It's also incredibly accurate. Because it's pulling information directly from those official courthouse feeds, it has a 99.8% accuracy rate. And in a market where one bad number can lead to a catastrophic financial mistake, well, that kind of reliability is a total game changer. And then the platform gives investors this whole suite of tools. You can literally see all the foreclosures on a map, get instant alerts if an auction date changes, and use these AI-powered calculators to figure out your potential return on investment. It even pulls in Zillow data for quick valuations. It's pretty incredible. So all these tools work together to solve the core problems of that old way of investing. Instead of being slow, inaccurate, and full of guesswork, investors can now operate with speed, with accuracy, and with the confidence that they're making decisions based on solid data. But, okay, that's the tech. Does having all this data actually lead to success? Let's look at the real-world results and see how investors are actually using this stuff to close some incredible deals. So, take an investor like Michael. This guy went from closing just a handful of deals over 2 years to closing 12 deals in only 6 months. That is a crazy acceleration, and he says it's all thanks to the platform's real-time alerts and analytics. And get this, it's not just about the number of deals, it's about how profitable they are. Michael isn't just closing more deals, He's closing ridiculously lucrative ones, with an average return on investment of 89% across his $23 million portfolio.
Wow.
Or, here's another one from Sarah, who owns an investment firm. She used the analytics to find what she called a hidden gem, a property that every other investor just completely missed. For her, the platform paid for itself 100 times over on just that one deal. And the scale of her success is huge. Using these tools, Sarah has built a multi-million-dollar portfolio, so this proves this isn't just for small-time flippers. It's a serious tool for serious firms that are building significant wealth. And when you zoom out, you see that the success stories of Michael and Sarah, they're not unique. Across the whole platform, you've got nearly 3,000 active investors who have used this system to acquire over $52 million worth of property. I mean, the numbers really do speak for themselves. At the end of the day, this system provides a real, quantifiable advantage. On average, users close 40% more deals than investors who are still stuck using those old-school manual methods. In a super competitive market, an edge like that is absolutely game-changing. This whole process, from that $10,000 house to these multi-million-dollar portfolios, it really just shows how technology is making these complex, once-hidden opportunities more accessible than ever before, which kind of leaves us with the final thought to chew on. In a world that runs on data, what if the key to a truly life-changing investment isn't buried deep in some courthouse basement, but is already sitting right there in your pocket?